Hello, I'm Steph from the Canadian Schoolhouse. I am here to share a couple of things with you today. One very important thing, it is the last week of our art contest. We have been running this all the way through April, and if you haven't heard about it yet, I'm going to give you the quick rundown, and then I'm going to focus in on one of the art categories, one of the media categories that you can submit, you and your children, because we've got four different age groups. We've got four different art categories. For you to submit something creative in. So it goes from ages 7 right up to parent. And our art categories are photography, videography, creative writing, and the one I'll talk a little bit about today is drawing and painting. So in those three categories, you can submit something on our theme, show how nature grows. And that's really wide open. That is just what the theme that we picked, because spring is such a time when there's so much growth in nature. And spring is also a great opportunity to get outside, get creative, really observe that nature. And along with that, so we have our contest page, and you can see that link right in the comments there for the contest page, and you're going to get all the details of the contest. I'm not going to go through everything here because we've got everything on that page. But hey, even if you're not interested in doing the contest, if that's just not your thing, there are prizes though, so just a little bit of a motivation for you. There is a opportunity to download our free a free ebook, which is normally $12.95 in the store on the Old Schoolhouse. But you can go to that contest page and enter in your info, and you can get that download for free. You can get that ebook for free. And it really is an awesome ebook. It's going to fill you up with lots of ideas, lots of different approaches to nature study. And there's a little section for scavenger hunt on there. I think it's around 100 pages long, this ebook. So you can imagine that there's going to be something that's going to apply to your homeschooling way of life, and going to apply to something you and your kids would love to do together in those great outdoors. So a little bit that I want to share today. So each week we've been going, having these live streams on Mondays, specifically about the contest. And because I just want to share a little submission tips. This is a great opportunity to get your kids to really be following the rules. So as with any contest, we've got certain rules, certain submission process, and different things like that to submit to follow and get right. So also on that page, we have let me just show you the visual here, but you can see what we use for a judging form. So our judging is done blind, blind in the sense that our judges do not know who the names that go along with the submissions when they come in. So we get a folder. All the entries that come in through the form get put in one specific folder, and then when it comes time to judging, which we'll probably do a little bit this week, some that have already came in, and then do some next week, because as always happens, it's most popular to get most of our submissions in the last week. So I look forward to seeing what you might have from your kids and yourself to give some real creative stuff, and some really neat stuff coming in already. So it's been neat pouring over that. But you can get this form printed out. I know you can't see it super well, me showing it up here, but this just gives you an idea of how each of the art categories are going to be judged, and how it's done on a point system. There's a little bit of beginning, there's some things that just disqualify entries if they're not quite done yet. And that word disqualify doesn't sound right, but I just like the more positive words. So there's a few things that need to be followed in order for it to be judged effectively, to be available for a prize. But one thing we are doing with all of them is we want this opportunity for the kids and the parents too, for everybody that submits a entry, to be able to get feedback. on their creative entry, whatever that may be. So you're going to get that judging form back and get that feedback on, so it's almost, you know, a little bit like the grading. And I know with my kids, like I don't do any real grading or marking. I make sure they've got it done, and I'll go through stuff to see how they, to see that they progress through it well. But I'm not one that's a big into marking, but I love the assessment part. And whether your homeschooling style is got the marking that you do that too, it's still great to get that outside perspective, for your kids to get that outside perspective and judge how some of their work is doing. And we also want to give just a little comment in there that's just going to encourage our entrance, encourage our entrance in whatever creative topic they came up with, and whatever their submission is. So everybody that does an entry, you are going to get a reply, even if it's just with the feedback form on your judging form, and you can totally see how everything is being judged. So you can be able to be a lot more accurate in how you're submitting your entry. So that being said, let's go on to just a few little tips. So I've been giving a few little tips for each category. So our one for drawing and painting, you're not going to mail in anything. You're not going to, as far, you know, a canvas or whatever you choose to do your drawing or painting on, and a sketchbook, anything works that really shows a good representation of whatever you've chosen to draw or paint. And what you need to do for that is just take a picture. Now, it's almost a little bit, we're combining a little bit of photography there as well, but we're not judging on that photography part, right? You can see in our judging forms, we've got certain things for photography, and we've got certain things that'll be focused in on for the drawing and painting. So just know that you're going to take a picture, you're going to do the drawing or painting, you're going to take a picture of that, and that's how you're going to submit your entry, just so we can see that work, and it will be judged accordingly on the artistic value of drawing and painting, not photography. So lots of times when we're doing drawings or paintings, you always want to put your name in the bottom, right? You get your signature there, or naming the bottom. We ask you not to do this for this part, or at least when you're taking your picture, make it just above where the autograph is, where your name is, if you do happen to put your name on it, so that our judges don't see the name. It's really not a big deal. Most of our judges probably are not going to judge accordingly to what the name is, but we want to keep that, as we say that the judges are not knowing that connection. They're just seeing the work in front of them. They're not knowing that the age. They will know the age, because it's specific categories like that. And you're going to submit. So when you enter your entered in your information in on the form that we have, which you're going to find that button to click there to actually get to the form where you submit your contest entry. There's going to be an area to name your title, to name your artwork rather, and there's going to be instruction on how to name your file that you're submitting, and that's pretty important for the reason that it helps to categorize your work of art in our folder that is just going, right? We're not getting these together. They're kind of being a little bit separated. So it just helps in organization that you name that file the way that we've laid it out, the way that we've instructed you there on the form. So keep that one in mind. So take a picture of your artwork, take a picture of your drawing or painting. Don't show your name in it, or don't put your name at the bottom. And what was my other thing on here? And I wanted to show you our spring magazine that we have out. So great magazine for this contest, and I mean, it just comes in spring. We're always thinking of outside stuff. So our spring magazine of the old schoolhouse has a section called Nature Studies and Journaling. So I wanted to highlight that to you. This is page 82, and Christine is going to put a link in there to our digital magazine, so you can see that for free. And we've also got our physical magazine, which you can also get in a few different ways as well. But there are 3 articles here. So we've got unit studies through journaling, nature, We've got journaling about nature, what homeschoolers learn by keeping a journal, and 3 ways to simplify the art of nature journaling. So those 3 articles right there are going to be great reads. Great for the contest for our final week here if you're still looking to get your submission in, but it is going to be a great just to be exploring the outdoors there and just taking in all God has given us within nature. My boys and I are generally, we're not on a big plot of land right now. We're on an acre and a half, but pretty much the whole perimeter of our acre and a half, we have trails that go through. We're kind of surrounded by, there's a little clearing for our house and some yard in our property. And then the acre and a half has trees all around it and our trail we go on. So we go on that almost every day. We have a few laps around the trails, as we call it. And this is just an amazing time. If you have somewhere where you're walking regularly, you can just see everything sprouting and blooming. The trilliums where I am are just like starting to get the full bloom. They're almost the ones I really notice the most. I mean, there's lots of things that are sprouting and blooming at the same time. These trilliums are getting, you're starting to see they aren't blooming out. The bud is not completely blooming that we see the full flower yet, but I can tell which ones are yellow, or I tell which ones are white and which ones are it's almost like this purpley pink kind of color, and more rare. Most of the time we see trilliums as white, but there is a few with this variation of this really nice rich purpley pink kind of color, which we've got a few out in our along our trails and through our forest as well. So lots of inspiration to get out there and just explore and just see that growth happening everywhere. So right alongside this growth that we're seeing in nature, we wanted to talk a little bit about the growth that we really encourage families to have in their homeschooling life. And I want to encourage you the most today, whether you're homeschooling, whether you're thinking about it, whether you are homeschooling through the public school, whether you are homeschooling and only homeschooling because of the time we're in, and you've decided to take on that homeschooling life, and you're thinking, oh, well, as soon as the public schools get back together, we'll have our kids back in school again. And I really encourage you to just see the beauty and the wonder that you can have with your children, the richness you can have in your family life by continuing to educate your children at home. I am a pretty hardcore. I'm just gonna say it that way. I'm a pretty hardcore homeschooler. When my 2 youngest boys were born, that I knew I was gonna do that, and because of the experience I had with my older son in the public school, but I knew I was gonna homeschool. So I sort of say I've been homeschooling for 13 years now, but really it's only been about 7 years where it's been real active homeschooling, right? Like I'm, really in touch with the curriculum and really in touch with the regular, learning routine that we have. And I say that regular routine, but it's certainly nothing the same now as, actually really not even the same that we did last year, but not the same on how I approached education even 7 years ago, because I've grown through that, not growing that like I'm much better than somebody that is just starting to homeschool, but I know my boys better. I know myself a little bit better and how I am and that teacher role. I know what I want to get really outside resources on and be able to have somebody else really teach my kids. And I know what I enjoy really showing them and teaching them just because of what I already know, right? That I don't need to, purchase or look for any kind of curriculum, because that's just my passion that I want to show my boys. And through that is all these different stages of homeschooling, and I really feel we're each of us, no matter what stage you're in, and there's no like, okay, you're in this stage, so you're a beginning homeschooler for this long, and then you're an experienced and avid homeschooler. Like it just depends how life is. In fact, I really found last year, it's like I feel like I am just like beginning again. Like I'm just like at a bit of a I was at a bit of a loss for what I wanted for curriculum. I was reassessing everything we were doing and really looking at different ways that it worked better for our family. A little bit worked better for the time I had available and what they could do a little bit more individually on their own, but also what worked better for them because as they grow, their learning styles and their learning habits, what really works best for the way their brain works, was becoming more evident to me, or I was just noticing it more. I'm not sure which one it was. So this pillar today, so we've been going through this 4 pillars, and these pillars are something that we at the old schoolhouse came together and really just finding what our goal is and our focus and our mission to help people educating their own kids, and not just educating their own kids, but really doing it in a way how we're following Christ and how we're doing things God's way, and through these pillars. So each video this week, and you can go back and look at them, whether you're seeing this on YouTube or Facebook, you can go on our channel and be able to see those past videos we've done. But we've covered our pillar of hope, our pillar of knowledge, our pillar of hope, knowledge. I just lost the last one. The one we're talking about today is pillar of future, and that we are in just how we instill those faith. Oh my goodness, faith. So faith was actually our first one. So faith, hope, knowledge. Actually, think about faith, knowledge, hope, and then today being future. That I'm going over with in these videos, and the future being the future of what we're building in our children. At least that's a little bit what I really want to focus on in this part. And there's so much ways the future, not just of our children specifically, but the future of the church, the future of the people of God, and how we're raising them and how we're leading them in the way of the Lord is it's so hard to do in the public school system. And when I think about that future goal of what I want for my kids, it's going to be different than what you want for your kids, right? We're all, God made us all quite unique, quite different, and He made us all with a different mission, with a different calling, and we really want to. I think every parent wants to kind of raise their kids in a way that brings out what God has put in them. And you know, the public school system, are kids going to be okay in the public school system? Not talking about maybe our most recent time, and it seems like most areas. I'm in Ontario, and right now the schools aren't open. They're doing the online thing, and I will say that I find people are really having a hard time doing the online homeschooling with the public school, right? So schooling at home with the public school, and that is really hard to do. That is really frustrating because that is not an easy way to educate your kids. There is so many ways to educate your kids, though, and being able to do it in the way that most aligns with them and your family style, so your family lifestyle and just the way you are as a mom or a dad, that really goes into that whole educational life you live with your kids. And I encourage you that future and that hope that God has planned for you, those good plans for good in your life as a family and for each family member's life, is really going to be brought out more when you have the freedom to educate with so many different resources and not be constrained to just the curriculum that an institution has decided as what that is. So this pillar of future, you know, we can look at that in a lot of different ways. And one of the resources that I want you to have to be able to just help you in your homeschooling life, help you in deciding whether whether educating your children is something to take on for the long term and not just think that it's a temporary thing for you, is our resource. It's called An Ordinary Homeschool with an Extraordinary God. So Christine's going to have the link for you there for the that free resource that we have for you in the Old Schoolhouse store. And I just, so Deb Wooler is the one who wrote this ebook, and she shares a little bit about her homeschooling experience with her kids. She's still homeschooling now, but she's got kids that are long into adulthood, and with their own families even now, that she has got years of experience educating her kids, and her dependence on God. When I listen to her, you can actually see her. She's got lots of great things. Go check out the YouTube channel for lots of really devotional kind of stuff that she has done, but lots of encouragement and motivation to help you in your homeschooling life. This is a really great book to read, to just be inspired in a life with God, because she's really focusing on that part, that it's not so much her or for any of us, like it's not us who's really taking on this life of educating our children, right? It's God working through us, and if we can just let God work through us and guide us in the way that our kids need to go, that's what really builds up. That's what builds up a strong church. That's what's going to build up your strong family for generation to generation. Just that love of Christ and that honoring Him is going to be something that's going to be instilled in your life for in the life of your children for a long time. So I'm really feeling honored and privileged to be able to share this homeschooling educational life with my kids. It's not easy, and it's not the simple thing, but I will tell you that for me, and keep this in mind, I actually find it so much easier to parent my kids when I'm also educating them. I think one of the things is they're not confused about the values and what they see all day in a school system, where they're influenced by a bunch of other people, not like teachers, and the teaching is great, but really you're influenced mainly by the other children that are there, and not necessarily the best influences are people that are just on the same level with us, right? Our kids need that influence of somebody that's just a little bit ahead of them, and definitely the influence of their parents needs to be number one. So I think that's one of the ways that makes parenting so much easier to homeschool your children. So I invite you to put any of your comments there. I'm gonna pop on over to definitely our Facebook page and our group, and let you see me there. But I'm Stephanie Morrison, so if you see me on some of those posts, I welcome any questions you have about whether it's just about homeschooling, any questions you have about our contest, and I encourage you to go and get that resource. Go and get that, or really two of them we gave you today, right? You've got that free download, Creative Nature Study, and you've also got that resource for an ordinary, I'm gonna have to look at that one, an ordinary homeschool with an extraordinary God, for you to go and grab that one as well. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy your day. It is beautiful where I am, thank the Lord. And I'm going to go outside yet again today and enjoy that beautiful sunshine. That's all for now. We'll see you later. Bye.